NBA 2K18 tutorial number 65. Today we're gonna talk defense. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna develop an all-switch system for 2K18, much like the one I did for 17. And don't worry, I will not be gone for 6 months after this one, just like the last one. As those of you who know, this did work great in 2K17. And the all-switch defense, as you can see in this clip, is actually even better this year because of the settings. So for those of you who will end up trying this, please test this out for me and let me know how it feels for you, because this is a little bit complicated, but we will go into the details of it. So first things first, originally all year long so far this year, we've been running over and catch hedge, and it is very good. But it also has many weaknesses that I'm going to show you in the next few clips. So yes, we have been running it all year, but I do think maybe it's time for a change. Just so you understand, because of these weaknesses here, maybe we should change it up. So you can check out the weaknesses here. One of them is that over and catch hedge never switches pick and rolls. Even as you can see here, the situation kind of calls for a switch. Artest should pick up wall while Hamilton should stay. But nope, they don't, because they never switch. So right here, I give up the fade, and I was late to close out, and I draw a foul. They draw a foul, so I give up 2 free throws. This is because catch hedge and over, if you set that as the pick and roll setting, even when they should switch, they won't. So here you see Iverson and McGinnis run this baseline pick and roll. Artest should just pick up Iverson here and call it a day, but they don't switch because of the catch hedge and over. So Artest has to return back. Now, I made it back and I was able to contest the shot, but switch was the right option here. In this case, this is Al Greer and he's running a pick and roll. Terry is completely stuck. This should be a switch. Terry shouldn't leave the pop man, but he does. So we give up a wide open pop to McGinnis, who doesn't end up taking it because he can't shoot it. But if he's a shooter here, we are done for. So that is the weakness of catch hedge and over. And in terms of the off-ball screen going over, that also has issues, because sometimes a switch is needed more than an over in off-ball screen situations. So as you can see here, you'll see some of these problems that are going to show up. So you see they're running a loop screen here, and Daltrey is wide open because my guy got caught on 2 screens. Luckily for me, he can't shoot, but if he is a shooter, this is over. So that's bad. And here there's another screen on. You can see LeBron and Kyrie run this action here. That's a screen. And then they should have switched. Hamilton and Middleton should have switched, but they didn't because I set it to go over. And we give up a wide open jumper that luckily Kyrie missed. And here I want you to focus on the right side. You can see there's a screen coming on JoJo White. And JoJo goes over the screen and gets back while Love doesn't switch. There's no switch here. This is a go over action, but it kind of worked out for us because of the positioning. But you can see on the left side, there's another off-ball screen. This should have been a switch between White and Middleton, because they should switch this because they can switch it. But they don't, and kind of caught on the over, and we give up a wide open free. And we paid for it, so that should have been a switch. And here you can see it another time, Julius Erving is popping out on the right. That should have been a switch, but because we have set it to over, a switch would have been much more suitable here, but we failed on the computer, failed on the over, and we give up a wide open free that they missed, but that's bad. Another thing I want to show you is that smart pick and rolls and play sets will wreck a slow no switch defense. So you can check out the defense and ability to deal with any of these sets here. This is the me against the all-time Heat. And you can just see I'm running a spread pick and roll here, and computer does not have the switch defense on, so they have no chance defending a spread pick and roll like this. And the same thing is going to happen to you, because even when you're running a defense, you can only control one defender, so if users spread pick and rolling you, it's still going to hurt you. And obviously the counter to snow switch for the defense is to simply bring help over when the pick and roll happens. But if you bring help, you're kind of falling into this. That's the elevator door screen onto the other side wing for the open free ball. And you can see it again. Here I run another set, and because the defense has no switch on, they bring help over. I just kick it back to the corner. I want that help to come, and that's another switch bomb. And another thing about not running a switch defense is that guard to guard pick and fade kills it. So you see the miscommunication by the defense there. Got Terry wide open out of the pick and fade in 5-out spacing. And obviously, once again, I'm running the loop katana here, and if a defender gets stuck in an off-ball screen, it's over. If you don't switch this and you get stuck on an off-ball screen, I missed a shot, but it's over. So because of all those weaknesses and inconsistency, a switch defense is kind of ideal to overcome those. So here I'm going to show you how to set up a switch defense or switch defense, and with the right settings, this is fully doable on 2K18 and is consistent in a sense. I'll describe what I mean by that later, but we will develop this over time, so consider this a step 1. And I'll be doing this throughout the rest of the year, starting now with the all switch. So the thing about the all switch defense is that even if you have the right settings, you're gonna need the right lineup because you will be switching everybody 1 through 5. So this lineup here is a acceptable lineup for an all switch defense. So you're gonna need players of similar size who can switch all across all positions. And starting off the matchup, you should still do them properly, match them up properly, because it's important, and the switching doesn't hurt it because it's just the matchup they start with, right? So first thing first, you want to go to defensive settings and make sure the off-ball screen setting is changed to switch all, but you're gonna need more than that. You're also gonna make sure the on-ball screen settings for the center and the non-center, so you see both on the right side there, both are also changed to switch all, and you don't have to deal with the hedge because the moment you change it to switch all, the hedge becomes automatic. And lastly, you want to make sure the switch rules on the settings is also changed to switch all for every player. So the strengths of an all switch defense I'm going to show you in the next couple of clips, and when it is executed well, it is actually the best defense that a user can do on 2K. You can see here we begin with a good initial isolation defense because that's still essential in the game. You still need good isolation. That's why you need to match it up correctly. I'm doing a good ISO on Wade here, so it forces him to rotate the ball. So he tries to run a pick and roll as a bailout option in the end. And you can see here the on-ball screen defense has been activated. So you see this White and Hamilton switches this Wade and Hardaway pick and roll nicely. And there's the pick and roll switch. We take away the roll, we take away the fade, and the switch is successful because obviously the defender's involved, right? Because Hamilton and White is good at switching, and they should be able to switch because of the size. We were able to force them into a bad ISO, get the rebound. That's good switch defense with the right settings activated. And here you can see another switch again. The Heat has the ball on the wing, and you can see a good clean off-ball switch on the right side on the baseline. There you see Marley sets that screen. Artest and White just makes the switch right there, and problem solved. So that takes away that off-ball screen action, and they're forced to go into this isolation post-up. We were able to kill off their clock. We bring help over. Shaq, that's a tough shot. We grab the rebound. That's another good off-ball screen defense right there. So in this clip, you can actually see both off-ball screen switch and an on-ball screen switch. So the Heat starts off in the swing motion kind of offense. You can see Shaq about to set a screen on Terry. So Shaq's defender, Hayward, is going to switch onto Wade, and Terry picks up Shaq. So that's bad because this is a clear mismatch, but that's what the setting does because it's all switch. So I understand it's a mismatch, but I'm going to defend accordingly. The moment Shaq catches it, I'm bringing help. I'm going to do the dig, and I defended that great, and we got a turnover. So the issue here was clearly Terry. He doesn't fit the all switch system. That's why I said you need the right players. I just didn't have it this time, but you wouldn't want that. So, but even if it's a mismatch, you're just going to defend accordingly and go from there. And another weakness is that if you play the switch defense, you need to be fast and you need to have the right lineup. And if you don't react fast enough, switching is actually the worst defense you can run. So if you don't execute this well, switching is way worse than catch, edge, and over. So you can see me make a couple of mistakes here. So you can see Haslam is about to set an off-ball screen on White here. So Artest and White simply just switch this because I have the off-ball screen and the settings to switch all. So that's good. Artest is a defensive legend, so he can switch onto a point guard. But the issue is that Haslam has a mismatch on White now. But White is also a good defender, so he can probably handle this. So that's not an issue. But you see on the left elbow here, AD and Artest made a bad switch. So I should have done this faster. And I was a little bit late on AD to finish the switch on the Hardaway. Artest did his job, but I kind of failed as AD. We gave up the open shot, so that's bad. That's me not switching fast enough between AD and Artest. You can see in another clip here, me against Computer. Computer tries to switch this loop katana between Shaq and Wade, but they are also too slow about it. So that gives me an open shot. So switching is good, but you need to be fast enough because if you're not, terrible. And another thing is, if you have low IQ defenders on your team like Isaiah Rider here, you see this is a clear switch. Love has already picked up Hardaway, but Rider forgets his damn job here and gives up the wide open pop to Bosch. Luckily, I was kind of able to recover a little bit, but it's still, that's bad. So that's Isaiah Rider's fault. That's the CPU. So you can't have bad CPU defenders when you're running this. So Terry is a bad defender, obviously. So you see inside the paint, Terry and Hamilton should switch this. Hamilton wanted to switch, but you see Terry just picks up Wade. So Hamilton, Computer recognizes this. He's a good defender. So he goes back to Glenn Rice. But they should have switched this because Hamilton would have been better in the post guarding Wade. Terry, Computer fails me here again and again. Bad defender, bad result, also a weakness of switch defense. And another aspect of a switch that you need to understand is that if the screen doesn't make If the screen makes no contact, the switch actually won't happen. So this is unlike over and catch hedge, where it's always the same. No matter what, they won't switch and they will always go over and catch hedge. But the thing about the screen is that if that screen that the opponent sets on your guy, off ball or on ball, if it's not, there's no clear contact, there will be no switch, and it just goes to like over and catch hedge or something else. So you need to be able to recognize this, because you see here, focus on Brian Grant in the middle. He tries to set a screen on Terry, but he misses it. So you see, my guys don't switch. If they don't make contact on the screen, there will be no switching by your AI defender. So you need to understand this. So you need to anticipate this. So you see Wade sets another screen, trying to set a screen on Hayward, but he misses it there. So Hayward just goes back onto his guy, which is PJ Brown, and Terry doesn't switch over. So there's no switch again. And this time you think this should be a good time to switch because Terry's actually kind of caught up. So Hamilton doesn't switch because the contact wasn't made against the opponent. It was made against a teammate. So there's still no switch. But I understood that they recovered a little bit, good help by AD, so we shut it down. But you see, no clear contact, no switch. However, you can still actually make the switch on your own. You see here, I just switch onto Wade as Middleton myself, so Terry just goes back and get the other guy. There wasn't any contact, but I just switched to the guy and I switch onto Wade myself, and the computer will react if you start picking up different matchups, so they would react to that. So that's something you have to do yourself with the right recognition and right anticipation. So it's quite difficult. So you see here, Grant sets a clear screen on the Terry, so Love actually switches over. Rice catches the ball, and there's another screen by Wade at the left elbow. There was no clear contact there, but I try to cancel the switch by controlling both defenders because I don't want Love picking up O'Neal. I want Love picking up Wade because Love's a better defender, and I want Hayward to go back to O'Neal. So I control both defenders there to cancel the switch, and I was successful, and you can see I got the matchups I wanted. So this is even more anticipation and recognition. This is the hard part about switch. Sometimes you can do it, sometimes you shouldn't do it, and you can cancel them yourself. So this takes a lot of stick skills and practice. So then what you need to understand is that the switch isn't an OP defense, it's more like a counter. It's actually more work, and it takes even better execution than the over the catch hedge to do. So in this possession, you can actually see 3 clean off-ball switches all at once. You see in the paint right now, you can see there's a switch between the 2 defenders that are right in the paint. There's one switch. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this takes a lot of recognition and anticipation to run, because sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. You see PJ Brown has a clean screen, so I know there's going to be a switch there, so I let that happen. Marley catches it right back, and they set another screen at the right elbow between Wade. You see Wade sets that screen. They try to pop up between Grant. We switched again between Love and Artest. 3 clean switches. That's lockdown defense, but that is a lot more work than catch hedge and over, so that's something you have to get used to. You can see a couple of the more switches in this possession once again. The key to all this is the on-ball screen. If the contact is clear, you see, bam, there's a switch right there, so that's something you can anticipate. The help slides over, so that's good off-ball setting by me. We challenge the shot. Misses the rebound because offensive rebound is OP. They run the same thing again there. Here's another on-ball screen. AD and Middleton switches it here. James kicks it back to Bosh. They switched it again. I manually switched it because I know I can overrule that. So that's something you have to anticipate and make the right read, all in a very little amount of time. So in terms of a skill level requirement, the all switch settings, all switch defense is way harder to do than over and catch hedge. You also need the right team. But if you are facing a spread offense, especially any 5-out oriented offense, where the players are running off-ball screens or pick and rolls, a all-switch defense with the right roster will lock that up. And I think a lot of you used my 2K17 all-switch defense and had a lot of success because of that. So same thing applies to 18 really, especially with 5-out kind of sets, very dominating this year, especially the hip riding animation. So I do suggest all switch defense if you're playing online against other users. On Supermax, play now online not so much, because the moment that the other team you're facing don't have 5 shooters, you don't really need to run an all switch defense, because then you can just sag off the non-shooter running over and catch hedge, because if you can bring help, over and catch hedge is way better than an all switch. It's just if you can't bring help, you have to go all switch, right? So that's something you have to decide on if you know you're facing 5 shooters and all that. But the key about all switch is that you have to play this a lot, and you gotta find the right players to do it, and then you get to stick with that team. and play defense tons. You need the reps because you need to know how your guys like to react in an all switch situation. At the same time, you're also going to train yourself to have the recognition to see when is the switch going to happen, when you should not let the switch happen, and when you should let it happen, and when you should anticipate it and just switch right out and go from there. Okay? So that's a lot of work for an all-switch defense. It's a lot more taxing than an over and catch edge where you're just kind of playing positioning. This one is a lot of work, but it's fun because it requires a lot more execution. Alright, so test this out for me. Let me know how it feels for you. Let me know your learning curve and all that. As always, thanks for coming by. Have a good weekend, and I will see all of you next time.